Hello, everyone, and welcome to Module 4 of Weapons Trafficking, Drug Trafficking, and Money Laundering. My suspicions are that this week's module will spark some of the most intense debate of the entire course. It certainly did the first time the course was offered, and it certainly does spark debate all over the world when the occasion arises. We're talking about the unique American approach to firearms ownership, the Second Amendment, how it's become a part of the American culture, and why peoples in the rest of the world find it a puzzling and perplexing social phenomenon. When the Sandy Hook shootings occurred, I was living and working in Europe for the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, which, among other things, helps to regulate and monitor weapons trafficking in conflict and post-conflict regions. My students stopped my classes and demanded to know how the Second Amendment works, what its language was, what cases had interpreted it, and why it is that Americans have such an unusual approach to the right to keep and bear arms. There's only one other societal topic that is so strangely and uniquely American, although it's not really unique, and that is capital punishment, something which does not exist in Central Asia, nor does it exist anywhere in Europe, anywhere at all. And yet in the United States, we are either second or third in the number of executions. That's a discussion for another day. In the meantime, as you do look at these materials and compare weapons behavior and the right to bear arms as it exists in the U.S. to how other nations regulate this practice, ask yourself whether or not the American approach exacerbates the weapons trafficking problem. By now, everybody has a good understanding, it was very clear from the post this week, of just how pervasive and huge the weapons trafficking industry is. So as we look at it, let's compare the American psychological and social approach to weapons possession to the same characteristics in other societies and ask ourselves whether these differences can lead to solutions in the forms of international agreements, or whether there are fundamental difficulties which will be insurmountable as the world tries to establish peace and regulate the illicit trafficking in weapons. I was absolutely dazzled and delighted by the postings that we had this week. You guys did a superb job. Many of the posts are going to work their way into the syllabus for this course for the next time around. A couple of them, people who I wrote to individually, will acknowledge that they've done very, very well with it. You are complete and comprehensive, and the analysis that you're doing is intense and extremely professional. Also, as you go through the readings this week, ask yourself, in anticipation of Module 5, whether there are manners in which international agreements to combat weapons trafficking could be made effective. Not whether they could be written, but how could they be made effective from an enforcement perspective. So I hope to be calling all of you sometime during this week just to kind of have a nice friendly chat, completely a voluntary experience for you. And if you have any questions, please do ring me up on the cell phone or drop me an email. Course is going extremely well, and I'm enjoying your repartee and your conversations. So have a really good week, and stay out of the hot sun, and I'll be talking to you soon. Take care.